Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever. It is episode 137 of Dude and the Monkey, and my name is Ian Loring. As always, I'm joined by...
Mark Foster. Hello, guys.
And it's a rather packed one for you this week. So, the main review is going to be the Johnny Depp resurgence film Black Mass. We'll also talk about some trailers, a fair bit of what we watched by the sounds of it, and we'll also continue Marc and Ian play with their lightsabers with a look at Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Marc, have you got anything to get off your chest or anything like that before we crack on?
No, it's been I don't know what the week's been like because I've been just absolutely insanely busy. So loads of stuff could have happened, and I just won't fucking know about it because.
I mean, it's Thanksgiving in the US, so you know.
Yeah, there's been that, so I think I guessed it would be. I think the only real big news is what we'll get to in trailers, I would say.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm drinking a very nice Sainsbury's Taste the Difference porter.
Oh, nice. Yeah, some of their porters are really quite nice, actually.
Yeah, it was quite chocolatey, this one, actually. It's
I think I've had that one. Which one is it?
London something.
Yeah, I think I've had that one that says quite chocolatey, yeah. But St. John has to do some really quite nice homemade, own brand ones, we'll say.
Yeah, no, it's I'm actually very pleasantly surprised by it. I drank fucking 4 cans of Punk IPA last night and didn't feel great this morning.
That stuff is a fucking hangover fucking machine, that stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal, 5.6%. It's nice though.
It is nice. It is very nice.
But okay, let's get on with trailers then, Marc. So go ahead, bud. What have you seen this week?
Only a couple. The second trailer for The Big Short, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. I think it looks incredibly entertaining. It's a great cast. It looks like Adam McKay's going to throw some elements of comedy in there, but it's definitely not. It's definitely playing it straight. I'm very much looking forward to it, to be honest. It's that type of film that I quite like, dealing that sort of financial sector and things like that. You know, I think, the last sort of great film we had like that was Margin Call, which was fantastic. And I've watched Margin Call 2 or 3 times. It's incredibly rewatchable. Looks like we're going along in the same sort of vein as that. So, yeah, very much up for that. Then the other one was what's it called? The pet one again. I can't remember what it's called now.
Secret Life of Pets.
Secret Life of Pets, yeah. Another trailer for that. It's a shameless Christmas cash-in trailer. I'm guessing to go before things like Star Wars and things like that, where a bunch of the pets are posing for Christmas cards. But do you know what? It made me snigger a few times, so I'm totally up for it. It's one of those where the first trailer, I found it quite amusing. The idea of it just following the pets would be quite nice. I would like it if it is just a series of vignettes following each individual pet. That'd be great. I'll be less sort of enthused if it turns out it's a kind of pets have to go on a mission to save something thing. Then I'll just be, it's just Toy Story with pets. So fuck it. And then I'll let you do a few, and then we'll come to the big one.
Literally only one I've seen is the big one.
Right, the big one. I'll let you go for this because you're more invested in the world of this than I am. So I'm guessing you were more excited by the prospect of it than I was.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for the Captain America Civil War. It's got to be said. It looks like it's actually going to be moving the Marvel Universe on in some interesting directions. Age of Ultron it's entertaining enough, but it was weirdly felt like treading water, which, when it's an Avengers film, it really shouldn't be. It didn't feel like the culmination of anything, which the first one did.
Yeah, this feels like this film is more. There's more going on it. There's more invested in it, and like you say, it's going to move the universe along a little bit more, and shit's going to happen in this one, whereas it didn't really in Age of Ultron.
Yeah,
Age of Ultron felt like it had the impact story-wise, etc. That something like Thor 3 might have. It was an absolute damp squib, whereas this one it feels like there's stuff going on, even as somebody who to be honest, is constantly left feeling pretty just lukewarm about the whole kind of the universe thing. As with most things, I'm glad other people are really enjoying it, and I would never call myself a hater and wouldn't sort of say I'm not looking forward to any of the Marvel films. I wouldn't be one of those people that says, oh, they're not even very good. They're all right, is what I think. They're perfectly fine, but I was getting a little bit tired of them, and a little bit like, do you know what? They've pushed it too far. But then I see this trailer for Civil War and go, do you know what? Falcon aside, I'm very much up for this, but please stop pushing Falcon on me.
I think he's going to continue to be pushed.
It is going to continue to be pushed, but it just feels like you're trying to make Falcon work, and we don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the plot of this film, which is something you can say a lot with Marvel, but I'm really interested to see how that all goes, and the fact that it's not like Tony Stark's being brainwashed or anything like that. It's actual ideals that him and Steve have that have been set up through the course of their own films and the Avengers films. And, obviously, like, Stark's going to have severe guilt issues after Ultron, which is going to help him through this stuff. But then, Steve's got guilt issues about Bucky as well. So you've got these two things. But, I mean, like, the end of the trailer where, Captain America says, he's my friend.
Yeah.
And Tony Stark says, I was too. It's the single best bit of acting Downey Jr. has done in a fucking Marvel film.
It is, and it does. It would be nice. I mean, I know they're not going to go for what I'm about to say, but it'll make sense as I go along. It'll be nice if we could have a Marvel film where, we're going to get the usual big set pieces, because it's a summer blockbuster movie, so you have to have those things there. But it'd be nice if we could have one where it doesn't rely on things falling from the sky and things flying around really fast, and essentially just having a faceless villain that'll be here and gone in, before you even remember who the fuck it is. It does seem like we're going to have everything kind of imploding on itself, and this will be the ripples will be the films that come after it.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting that we've got a Captain America film that does look like you're going to have Iron Man playing a pretty pivotal role in it.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, I think this assuages the fear that it was going to be kind of the Iron Man show in a Captain America film. It looks like it is going to be still a very Cap-centric story, with, Tony Stark just as the antagonist, very much and Robert Downey Jr. role, I'd say. I mean, the action looks solid, the plot looks interesting. I couldn't really be much happier after this trailer.
Yeah, it really is an absolutely fantastic trailer. Like I say, even coming from somebody who's not as invested in the world for it, I do think it's a great trailer. And if the tone of this trailer is the tone of the film we're going to get, I'm a lot more excited, because I do feel that the Ultron got weighed down in trying to be a little bit too clever, trying to be a little bit too funny, like the first one was, or having a lot of throwaway jokes, and just ended up being a little bit meh.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's an incredibly, Age of Ultron is an incredibly forgettable movie, and every time I think I should give it a rewatch, I remember bits, but the bits I remember make me go, yeah, I can't even bother to rewatch it, actually.
I mean, I am going to go back to it. Donna and I watched about the first half of it when it came out on iTunes, and then we switched it off and just didn't go back to it. But which I think maybe says something.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly didn't hate it. I enjoyed my time watching it. It's weirdly a non-event. Where these Avengers films are supposed to be the culmination of something, and Infinity War Part 1 and 2, those are going to be events. But yeah, I don't know, this just felt like Whedon spunking off a last one to fulfill his contract.
The Age of Ultron did seem to be a little bit like somebody who couldn't have the idea, the spark to get it going there, so moped about, and it kind of got through on sheer excitement alone for it.
I think, and I think Whedon's been very, very quiet after this.
Well, he was very mopey and miserable during the kind of the press runs, saying, you know, oh, I'm never going to make another studio movie. I'm too tired and all this crap. And it's a little bit like, hang on a minute. Yeah. You've been in a very lucky position to have got the Avengers movie, and I've made peace the Avengers movie. You made a very good movie that people loved and enjoyed. If you weren't up for doing another one, then why did you do another one? Don't say you're going to do it and then bitch and moan about having to do it.
Yeah, no, quite. I kind of lost a lot of respect for Whedon on a personality level with his handling of the press tour. There's just kind of like the jokey, but you know, I kind of mean it, kind of attitude. It pissed me off. I mean, like the Russo brothers are now Marvel's big golden boys, and it's going to be interesting to see, because you know they're doing this and then they're doing Infinity Wars Part 1 and 2, so it's like they are the big ones for them now, even though they've only done one Marvel film before. But Winter Soldier was such a pleasant surprise for people that I'm not surprised they've got all this heat, and obviously Marvel like them because they probably do what Marvel say, bring stuff in on schedule and on budget, but still manage to just about inject their own personality into it. I don't know. I'm actually planning on rewatching Ant-Man tonight, and I'm very intrigued to see how that goes because I really liked Ant-Man, and it's going to be fun to see Paul Rudd in turning up in Civil War as well. I don't think he's going to be in it much, but just having that, and you know, just having all the other characters kind of like playing bodies on a battlefield, you know, I think could be pretty solid. I'm looking forward to it. I've got a feeling it's going to be 2.5 hours long, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I have it will push. It will easily push 2 hours easily. Other than that, nothing trailer wise.
Cool. Okay, well we shall move on, and let's get into the Scott Cooper directed Black Mass, which stars Johnny Depp, Joel Edgerton, Rory Cochrane, Dakota Johnson, Kevin Bacon, Adam Scott, a lot of Boston hoods, and am I missing anyone important there?
There's a lot of people throughout this movie.
There's a lot of people. Oh, Jesse Plemons as well.
Yeah, Corey Stoll turns up.
Yeah.
Peter Sarsgaard turns up in there. There's Adam Scott. Did we mention Adam Scott? Yeah. So there's a lot kind of crop up.
So
Juno Temple.
Oh yeah, Juno Temple. Yeah.
Juno Temple playing a prostitute.
Shocker, isn't it?
Who'd have thunk?
I don't know. Her agent needs to work harder, but
no, I don't think that's her agent. I reckon that's just her mentality. Yeah. I reckon she turned up on set one day and took her clothes off, and Scott Cooper went, "You're not supposed to be nude in this scene." She's like, "Oh, scene? What scene?" I'm just going to craft services.
Nice. Anyway, so this is the based on true life story of James Whitey Bulger, who was a kind of a fairly low level gangster in Boston who Benedict Cumberbatch is in it as well. That was the one. I knew there was a big one.
Beryl Cumsatchel.
Yeah, Beryl Cumsatchel. Yes. Playing Johnny Depp's brother, which is weird. So he forms an alliance with an FBI agent who's come back to Boston, played by Joel Edgerton, and basically Whitey kind of goes up in the ranks while feeding Joel Edgerton nothing, really. But thanks to one big thing, Joel Edgerton gets up in there. But then Whitey just kind of
continues doing his thing.
Does his thing, really. Yeah, doesn't listen to anything Joel Edgerton says, but Joel Edgerton wants to be mates with him. That's basically the story.
Yep.
What do you think of Black Mass, Mark?
It's a strange film, is Black Mass, because it's a great story. It's also a great story that's quite well told, to be honest, within the actual film itself. So it's also quite well acted. It's quite well written. But it does have its kind of its issues within the film, where it's going through the negatives first, then coming back to the positives again in a second. It's trying to be very heavy and meaningful. The score kind of drives that through, and also it suffers a little bit from every single little character. Has to be a recognisable face. So the problem is, at points you're going, well, that guy's only in it for 2 minutes, but it's Corey Stoll. And Adam Scott didn't have a lot to do here, did he? Neither did Curtis Johnson. And there's kind of bits like that which seem to be peppering throughout it. And also, it suffers from this ever-growing trend from modern directors from being just a little bit too obsessed with style and making sure that everything looks perfect. So you've got a kitchen that is exactly set out as it would be in the 70s with Formica and worktops and that 70s pattern design and everything like that. And then after that, you flash into a shot at night over the Boston skyline, when even I, who don't know, the Boston skyline that well, can point out and go, well, I know those two buildings are fairly new. So it does suffer a little bit from that, which is a shame. Story-wise, acting-wise, and the majority of the direction is actually really quite good. It's a very good gangster film. The problem is it's trying to be part Donnie Brasco, part Goodfellas, and part Scarface, and it never quite manages to set where it wants to be in between those.
Yeah, I mean, my problem with it is that it's fine. It's nothing more than that. I thought it was deeply average. It's just the fact that it didn't really tell me anything from like a character study point of view, or just an info dump point of view. It was just like, yeah, this stuff happened.
That's pretty much it, really. From if you know anything about Whitey Bulger, you're not going to learn anything else about him from this movie.
The thing is, it could have just been generic gangster, like crime film number 57.
Yeah,
but it's got Johnny Depp in it.
Yeah, it has. But the strange thing is, Johnny Depp's developing this little bit of a crutch where now he has to be heavily made up to not look like Johnny Depp in a movie. And he's gone too far because, you'd look at him and you'd go, he's got the crazy blue, hyper blue contacts in and things like that. But if you actually have a look at pictures of Whitey Bulger, he didn't have, like, fucking Paul Newman piercing blue eyes, like Depp's gone for contact. So that's either a directorial or an acting choice to go, that's the look I want to go for. Which is a bit like, well, no, you're playing an actual person that there are numerous pictures of that you can go, well, no, his eyes didn't look like that. And it does seem like that. There are some fantastic scenes in this which elevate it up and above, but the problem is they're peppered between quite, like you say, quite generic gangster movie sort of scenes that felt a little bit kind of TV at points, which is no slagging off for TV. But when you've got something, when you're telling a story for film, it is a different medium. It is a different way of telling a story. But this felt at points, it had that shortness where there was a lot of things happened in very short bursts, whereas you wanted a little bit more sort of fucking meat to chew on. I mean, the standout scene is the scene where Whitey goes up to check on Joel Edgerton's wife, and that is it stands out. And you're watching that going, there's Johnny Depp. There's the Johnny Depp that we lost like 12 years ago to flouncing about, constantly playing over-the-top characters. There was the fact that when he's checking to see if she's got a fever and things like that, and there's a palpable sense of, oh, this is fucking intense and intimidating. And then there's other scenes in it where you're going, this just feels a little bit. Well, that happened then.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I don't know. There's things like there's a scene where Joel Edgerton's getting chewed out by Kevin Bacon, and they're about to basically like drop the whole Whitey thing, and then coincidentally enough, in that moment, they're listening to the recording, and they've got the guy. It's like they're about to drop Whitey, and in that very same scene, here's the thing that's going to make Whitey basically bulletproof for them.
Yeah.
It felt like Cliff Notes storytelling to me, but I don't know whether I would have wanted it to go on any longer. But it's just like Joel Edgerton. The only real sense you get out of him is just mistaken belief that Johnny Depp will listen to him because he's from Southie as well. And I mean, like, is that really all there is there? It doesn't. I didn't feel particularly nourished by the screenplay there, or really even what Edgerton was doing. He was fine, but I thought he was pretty one note, just like cocky, but thought he knew better than everybody else, and that's kind of about it, really.
It was. I think. I mean, the idea that you get from the actual thing is when his name's Jimmy Connolly, I think it is. John Connolly, yeah, Johnson's character. When he first sort of got in, cahoots with Whitey Bulger, was the fact that he thought he could use him as as an ally in taking down the Italian mob in Boston, and that was what happened. And then as he got closer, he got more comfortable, and he got a little bit seduced by the power and the money that he was getting from that side. But the thing is, that's not really shown in this movie. Yeah,
I was going to say that is literally one scene where they're celebrating in Miami.
Yeah.
But then the rest, then it kind of just switches back to, well, no, Jimmy's gonna do what we want him to do. Don't worry about it. Whatever, we've got this. Don't worry. It's just that again and again and again. You got the scene that kind of precedes the wife sequence where David Harbour and the guy Stephen and and Joel Edgerton and whatnot are all having dinner with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, what, like, why are they all having dinner together? There's not even any kind of like context for why that's happening. It's just more an excuse so Johnny Depp can do the sub. You think I'm funny?
You think I'm funny, yeah. Which again just lies into the fact that this film at points is trying to ape other crime movies, other sort of movies of this sort of style.
You're waiting for, like Legend actually did, you're waiting for the one take going through a nightclub while a classic track plays.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised Cooper didn't do that.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he didn't go for something like that. I think you get the feeling like even he thought, maybe that's a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah. And I mean, Depp's decent. I mean, he's good, but it does. But I mean, that's about it, really. I mean, to be fair, he doesn't really get much to do.
He walks around looking a little bit sinister.
Yeah, I mean, apart from really generic, threatening gangster behaviour, I don't know. I don't know why people were particularly drawn to the screenplay. I can see why they'd be drawn to the material, and it feels like there's a way better, to be honest, a way better TV miniseries to be done about this. This story feels like a story that could be played out through long form storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Or a film that just focuses on one particular aspect of it.
Yeah, it did seem to get a little bit, like you say, there's a lot of people drawn to it. I mean, apparently the original cut did come in at over 3 hours.
I'd kind of be intrigued to see that.
I would actually, because you get the feeling that there'd be a little bit more going on. I can imagine someone like Dakota Johnson attaching herself to this, because I mean, this was, although it was shot at the beginning of this year, end of last year, beginning of this year, the cast and everything were assembled almost 2 years ago. It's been floating around for a while, which is why I think you've got people like Dakota Johnson, for instance, cropping up in this. Kevin Bacon will basically be in anything if you wave him a fiver at him.
Well, I mean, Sienna Miller was completely cut out of the film. She plays like a later. She was playing a later girlfriend of Bolger when he's in hiding.
There's a couple of others, I think, that have been cut out of it as well. I mean, apparently Jonah Temple's character was originally quite a bit bigger, as was Corey Stoll's. He had a few more scenes.
I could see Stoll's character being big, and that's
a great scene, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great scene, but his character is just the one-note guy who will not be corrupted.
Yeah. It is great when he basically just fucking chews out Joel Edgerton.
Yeah, he's like,
goes in all cocky and he just basically just starts bawling at him, saying, "What the fuck are you doing? Go out and do your job."
I like the way that it starts with like Joel Edgerton just chatting at him and him just being like, "Whatever, fuck off." And then Joel Edgerton walks out and he's like, "Actually, while you are here," and then just like proceeds like you say. The power dynamics there. Because it is around the start of the Edgerton is fucked period of the film as well. That was really good. I do like Corey Stoll. He can play a nice guy or a fucking dickhead or a complicated character like he does in House of Cards really, really, really well.
Yeah, he's got that fantastic ability and that strange physique where he can go from looking, for instance, he was in, I can't remember what the film's called now, but a film that I watched earlier this year with Adam Driver and Jason Bateman and a few other people in it. I can't remember the fucking title. I'll find it out in a second. But he's in that, playing one of the brothers in that, and he's a little bit. He's kind of considered as like the joke kind of brother who's, just family guy, and he doesn't really have that much kind of like to do or say or anything like that. But also he can play the fucking somebody who looks like they could be quite kind of threatening. I think it was called This Is Where I Leave You. The film. Yeah, This Is Where I Leave You. He's in that, and it's a completely different character to what else you've seen him in, and he does have that turn of kind of face, and he was very entertaining in Ant-Man.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good cast doing good work. The cast are fine. It's just the direction is fairly uninspired. I mean, I just like the way it's all told through. Yeah, it cuts back to people being interrogated, and it's basically context for scenes given by somebody in interrogation giving a 2-sentence thing, and then it just kind of plays that out. It just, I don't know. I just found this cut of the film to be really derivative, and it just, by the end of it, I just watched it this afternoon, and by the end it was like, right, that one's ticked off the box, that's out of the way, I'm never going to think about that again.
Yeah, the strange thing is, I felt a little bit the same about Crazy Heart and Out of the Furnace, to be honest.
It's better than Out of the Furnace. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, Scott Cooper, he just... Yeah, I mean, he seems to attract people to his films, and I'm not too sure why.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might call in a lot of favours.
Yeah, maybe. I'm pretty much done. I mean, I would.
Yeah.
It's borderline, but I'm going to say definitely not shit.
I'm going to say it's definitely not shit, because I don't think it's shit. I think there's if you are into this genre of films, I think there's certainly enough there for you to get a lot of entertainment out of it, and to enjoy it for a couple of hours. But it's not going to be in the pantheon of these type of movies, and it's not a career-defining performance from Johnny Depp, which has been said it is. It's a little bit like, how many films does Johnny Depp have to do now that are career-defining performances?
I don't think it's the best Johnny. Well, personally, I don't think it's the best Johnny Depp film released this year, but we'll get on to that.
We may.
Okay, so let's do some what we watched. Mark, why don't you kick us off?
I'll kick us off. I watched, because it was Thanksgiving on Thursday. I didn't watch it on Thursday because I didn't get a chance, but I watched it on Friday evening. I watched Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Because it's a Thanksgiving movie. I usually watch it on Thanksgiving because it's an incredibly watchable movie. It's Planes, Trains and Automobiles. It's got, you know, John Candy being, you know, and Steve Martin both on top form, and when those two comedians are in top form, you've got the makings of a great movie. And it's the great thing that it does is it gets in, gets started, and gets its story told, and gets you the fuck out before either of the characters start to annoy you, because inherently they're both annoying characters. You know, John Candy's Del Griffith is, you know, heart of gold, etc., but is an annoying character. He's that typical guy who spends far too much time on his own and comes across that little bit too desperate to have a friend. And Steve Martin's the opposite of that. He's just a little bit of a dick who, if you got to know him, is probably a nice guy, but you've got to spend enough time to get to know him. Whereas when you start with him, you get his abrasiveness. I think if you spent too much time, then you start to dislike him, and you wouldn't spend enough time to actually start liking him again. Whereas it just gets in and gets it done. It's a wonderful mixture of sort of situational humour and slapstick humour. I mean, one of the great moments in Planes, Trains and Automobiles is when they're in the car and they go through between the two lorries. And everything's flashing red, and Steve Martin turns around and looks at John Candy, and he's dressed as the devil, screaming at him. There's just wonderful little moments like that, or just great sort of, just very sort of John Hughesy lines, because everyone always associates John Hughes with sort of films like Pretty in Pink and The Breakfast Club and things like that. Yeah, these sort of young adult centric movies, but here you've got two guys who are, you know, supposed to be in their late 30s, early 40s. It's that other end of the spectrum, but you've got a sort of great sort of throwing lines like the Dylan Baker character, I think in his second film, I think it is, who's playing a complete hick, and did the line where he says, you know, she can put your trunk on the back. It's like, no, we can get it. Oh no, she's strong. When she had her first child, it came out sideways. And they both look at each other. There's some great sort of lines. Then you've got it's one of those films where the first time you watch it, it just fucking, when he gets towards the end and everything's piecing together, and then it hits with that revelation, and fast forward 10 seconds if you've never seen Planes, Trains and Automobiles, or stop, go watch it and then continue listening, where John Candy basically says, you know, yeah, she's dead, and Steve Martin figures it all out that his wife's dead. It's a fucking gut punch in that, because, you know, you've spent all this time and he's clearly got a lot of affection for his wife and everything's built up, and then you have this realization of, oh shit. It's a gloriously wonderful film. I do look forward to Thanksgiving every year to get around to watching it.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The great thing is, like I say, it's an hour and a half, which is how long comedy should be.
Yeah, totally.
I'll do another one, then I'll let you do a couple.
Sure.
I watched Hitman Agent 47. The first Hitman movie was terrible, to put it lightly. This one stars as Agent 47 this time. Rupert Friend. We've also got Zachary Quinto in there, and a bunch of other people that you kind of recognise but don't actually mean anything. Its plot is incredibly similar to The Man from U.N.C.L.E., to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Yes, in that Hannah Ware, who plays Katia, is hunting for her father, who was the engineer behind the agent program. He's gone into hiding. She's got to find him. And spoiler alerts for Agent 47 that aren't really a spoiler alert, it's in the fucking trailer. Zachary Quinto is attempting to get her to get to her father, but also Agent 47 is attempting to get her to get to her father as well. But he also knows that she happens to be an agent, and Zachary Quinto doesn't know that he's an agent, but she's an agent, but Zachary Quinto is now kind of actually like a prototype of a new agent program that they've got.
Right.
Yeah. Right. That makes it sound way more complicated than it actually is.
It does.
It's just 90 minutes of fun, to be honest. It's good in the fact that it starts, gets in, like I've just said what I said, gets its shit done. The action, it's good. There's some interesting new things done. It plays with the fact that it's a computer game based movie. In the fact that Agent 47 does change his costume quite a lot. He will knock people on the head and then get into their uniform and wander around. It's all held together by the fact that Rupert Friend is really very good in this, and a really sort of charismatic character within the movie, when he really probably shouldn't be at all. But it's a thoroughly good time, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch this. You've slightly sold me.
It's a midweek watch. It is an absolute midweek watch, but it is one where you can put it on. You can put it on at 9 o'clock, and then it'll be done before 11 o'clock, and you'll go, do you know what? That was a perfect 7.5 out of 10 movie.
Nice. Okay, that sounds good.
Ticks along nicely. There's some great scenes. There's a great scene towards the end in an elevator between Rupert Friend and Hannah Ware, which is just a great. There's not a lot happens, but it's a scene that fits that moment perfectly.
Nice.
I'll let you do a couple, because we've got one that crosses over.
Pardon me. Okay. Mortdecai.
Yeah.
Mortdecai is a film which is now on UK Netflix, which bombed horribly earlier on this year. No one seemed to like it apart from Andrew Jones on Twitter, at Ethan Run, who actually replies people randomly talking about Mortdecai for some reason. It's fantastic. Mortdecai is the story of a kind of a scoundrel art expert / thief person / lord,
Yep.
played by Johnny Depp, who owes a shitload in taxes, and so agrees to help old school friend / rival for his wife's affection, his wife being played by Gwyneth Paltrow, the friend being played by Ewan McGregor, to assist in a little bit of art subterfuge, or solving some. Mortdecai is ably assisted by his assistant, Jock Strap, played by Paul Bettany.
Is his real surname? Yes, it is Jock Strap. Wow.
I really liked Mortdecai.
You're insane.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
I
had to watch it after you said that it was good. I thought, all right, okay. Do you know what? I'm gonna give this a go.
The thing is,
There's one funny moment in it.
No, there's loads of funny moments in it.
I'm interested to know which ones.
Your mother,
A genuine.
your mother and father met only once,
brilliant.
and money was exchanged.
Yes, that was the one time I laughed.
The running joke about how much Gwyneth Paltrow hates his moustache tickled me. I liked that Jock was constantly shagging women and just had women hiding places. The thing is, I'm the world's biggest fan of Haunted House 2. So I don't expect anyone to go with my opinion on anything really, but especially comedy. But I like pratfalling. I like slapsticky stuff. I like Johnny Depp trying to fence and doing it like horribly. I liked Mortdecai. I had a fun time watching it.
Do you know what? Good on you.
It just the thing is, if you don't think it's funny, fair enough. But I genuinely don't think it would have gotten as much hate if it wasn't Johnny Depp in the lead role. I can't help but feel there's a lot of just jumping on Johnny Depp because he's dressing up like an idiot again. And his character made me laugh. I thought he was endearing. I mean, the plot is what it is, but I mean, Paul Whitehouse turns up as some Eastern European mechanic for no reason whatsoever. It seemed like just a bit of a goof to me, but I thought it kind of captured that quite well on screen, and didn't mind it. I mean, the bit where he accidentally cuts off half the guy's moustache, and he's just like I deeply, sincerely apologise. It made me laugh. I'm sorry.
No, comedy. But Ian, one of my best comedies of the year is Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
Yeah, there you go. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. It didn't. The line of your mother and father met only once and money was exchanged was brilliant and comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It really does. It's not. It just kind of happens. Jeff Goldblum's criminally underused.
I mean, yeah, I don't think he's even like advertised in the trailer or anything. That just felt like a cameo.
It did. It is at pains to tell you repeatedly how pretty Gwyneth Paltrow is.
Yeah, well, to be fair, one of the key things in the plot is the fact that Ewan McGregor wants to fuck her.
Mm.
Yeah, and Johnny Depp, she's basically withholding sex until Depp gets rid of his moustache.
Yeah.
You're laughing.
And I'm laughing at just how I made it through. Okay. And one thing I will say that I'm noticing, I'm developing a bit of a distaste for Olivia Munn.
She's very whatever.
In the sense of I don't think anybody in the history of the planet has ever been as attractive and as sexy and as alluring as Olivia Munn thinks she is.
Yeah, bang on there, actually.
You get the feeling like if let's say you were in a bar next to her and she got to the bar around about the same time as you, and the barmaid came up to you and said, "Oh, what can you have to drink?" You went, "I think this girl was before me." She'd turn and go, "Not a chance.
Yeah.
Not happening." You'd be like, "I just thought that you wanted it." No. And then a rape alarm would go off and all sorts of stuff happened. You'd be like, "I don't even know what happened."
Yeah, sure.
It's the comical bit is how just way off bat her casting is.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I'd agree with that. I had fun with Mortdecai.
One thing I will say is it's not as bad as people say it is. I don't get me wrong, it's not I personally don't think it's a good film, but I don't think it's one of the worst films of the year.
think-
If this is one of your worst films of the year, you've not watched enough films.
And the thing is, it's going to be in like everybody's worst of list.
Oh yeah, it's the pick on the stars movie.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, I don't think it's a particularly good film, but I'm looking on Letterboxd, and the image on Letterboxd is him combing his moustache, and it's making me smile inside. It just
Fair enough. Good on you.
Yeah, there you go. It's not one I'm going to particularly go to bat for. If you genuinely don't find it funny, as I believe that you didn't, then fair enough. It's just I'm looking at the average ratings on Letterboxd here. 12%, half a star out of 5. 19%, 1 out of 5. 12%, 1.5. 19%, 2 stars. 14%, 2.5 stars. 13%, 3 stars. 6%, 3.5 stars. I'm in the 3% that gave it 4 stars. 1% gave it 4.5 stars, and 1% gave it 5 stars. I need to have a look at these 5-star reviews.
I would be in it's a 2-star movie for me. I'd be in that bracket.
What? Right. Cherry
or 2.5 maybe.
Cherry Wine gave it 5 out of 5, and doesn't appear to actually have logged anything recently. Okay. I want to go back and see what these people have seen and what they give ratings to. This is...
Do you know what? One of the things I would say, though, is comedy should be kind of subjective. And I think a reason why I didn't personally get on with it is because I don't like that British-based humour. It doesn't... It's not something that gets to me. I do quite enjoy slapstick to an extent, but I don't enjoy that kind of British-based humour, which Mortdecai absolutely is. It is that kind of thing, which it often touches kind of a bit of a raw nerve with me, which is probably why I didn't get on with it that well.
Fair enough. The whole bit about open your balls. Loved it. Loved it.
You see, yeah, when I'm thinking back to that was actually quite amusing. When I'm thinking back to that,
the running joke of the guy threatening people saying "open your balls," and they're like, "What does that actually mean?" I don't know. I'm fine with Mortdecai. Anyway, let's move on. What else shall I talk about? White God.
Yes, which I didn't get round to watching, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did a double bill of White God and another film that Mark and I both watched this week. So White God is I think it's Hungarian film, which is essentially like Rise of the Planet of the Dogs, kind of. But basically, the story is a girl has this dog, and she's sent to live with her dad for a few months while her mother goes abroad. And through a couple of incidents, the dog is left abandoned. The dog then basically goes through various travails where people don't treat it very nicely, and it's actually pretty horrible. And then the dog snaps and kills someone in the sight of a load of other dogs. And then they basically rise up and essentially kind of run roughshod over a city while the dog systematically goes through all the people who abused it and kills them.
You see, I think I got this confused with a different movie and thought I was going to get up earlier to watch it this morning, but I didn't in the end. I decided to have a little bit more of a lie-in. Still got up at 7:30, but decided to have a little bit more of a lie-in. And it's because I think I thought it was a different movie. I don't know what movie I thought it was, but now I'm going, oh, fuck, I wish I got up early and watched that now.
Now, the thing is, I'll kind of allay it somewhat. That's part of the film. And in fairness, it is basically the last half hour, 40 minutes or so. But before that, it also focuses on the girl who is kind of forced to abandon her dog, and like her relationship with her dad and with her peers in this like musical college, and that stuff's not great. Um, I mean, like the performance of the girl is pretty solid, but that stuff's not very interesting. And even if it wasn't a film where it's Rise of the Planet of the Dogs, it wouldn't be interesting. It's not just because I'm like, let's get to the dogs. It's just genuinely not that interesting. I don't really know what it was trying to say. But when the dog stuff is unleashed, it's pretty amazing. How they got these dogs to do this kind of shit. And in a couple of scenes, I'm assuming these people didn't get hurt, or at least not seriously hurt. I don't really want to spoil it, but it's pretty crazy. I'm assuming some CG had to be involved with some things, but the dog wrangling and that aspect of it really blows my mind. And I mean, that stuff is. I liked the film. It is 2 hours long.
Yeah, that did put me off a little bit.
Yeah, and it does somewhat feel it. And I mean, like I say, I mean, like the stuff with the girl, it's fine, but it feels weirdly disconnected from the dog stuff. I think there's a kind of like a parallel that she's kind of unwanted, but then kind of finds her place, and the dog's unwanted and finds its place, and then they kind of like meet again, and yeah. So I kind of see where it's going there, but it's just the dog stuff is more interesting. But yeah, I mean, I recommend it. It's on Netflix UK. You know, it's, I don't know, 7 out of 10 maybe. Yeah, 7 out of 10. I think I'm comfortable with. It's certainly worth a poke.
Watch it, but don't rush.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, which is kind of how I came to it, to be honest. I just thought, you know, it's getting to the end of the year. I've kind of got to start doing some end of year catch up stuff, and you know, I mean, I'm glad I did. It's not going to be bothering my my top 10 list, but I'm glad I watched it.
Cool.
So yeah, let's swing it back to you then, bud. I'm just trying to think of how many. Like, we got the one that we both did.
I'm pretty much out now. I will say I started watching Jennifer 8 on Wednesday. Was really enjoying it, and then I woke up to the various kind of skyscraping scenes that go on when your Apple TV goes to sleep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had a very, very, very busy Wednesday where I was at work from like 7 in the morning till about 6 o'clock at night, and then I did Bill's parents' evening and various other stuff.
Oh, fair enough. Actually, one other thing I did watch. I watched That Thing You Do.
Oh yeah, I went to see that at the cinema.
Wow.
On my own.
Nice. And I found out after that there's an extended edition, which I didn't know existed, which apparently has like 35 minutes extra, and fleshes out the only problem that I have with the theatrical cut of That Thing You Do. That Thing You Do is one of the easiest watching films I'll ever see. I'd seen
the
it
extended
before.
cut of that movie is 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't want to watch that now.
I kind of want to watch it because apparently it does flesh out the Liv Tyler, Tom Everett Scott stuff more, which is my one big problem with the film. The fact, spoiler alert for That Thing You Do, the fact those two get together at the end, to me, watching this cut, having no knowledge it was an extended cut, I was just kind of thinking, right, so they can't just have the boy and the girl be friends then, they just gotta get them together, even if it doesn't really make any narrative sense.
Yeah.
But apparently the extended edition just flushed that out, so I'd be intrigued to see it. But yeah, it's such an easy watch. It's just like a group getting together, getting into hijinks, and then kind of breaking up. But you know, there's some maliciousness there, but nobody's really a cunt. There are worse people than others, and I suppose Jonathan Sheck's character is a cunt to Liv Tyler, but his reasoning for kind of wanting out of the band and whatnot is actually quite sound. But it just, you watch it, you relax. The song's catchy as fuck, which is helpful because you hear it about 20 times. And yeah, it's really fun. I like Tom Everett Scott. There's a scene with him in a jazz club where he's just getting pissed and Rita Wilson's trying to crack onto him, which is really funny. And I don't have much to say. I just really enjoy it.
I'm actually going to rewatch that 2.5 hour version of it. I'm going to try and track that down and find it and watch it, because that's yeah. I remember watching that in the cinema and thinking this is actually really quite good. And then for years people going, oh, why is Tom Hanks never directed another movie apart from That Thing You Do? And then he made Larry Crow, and we all realised, well, could he just never direct anything ever again, please?
Yeah, that's not great.
That's terrible.
So, right, okay, let's go to the one that we both watched then.
Yes.
So we are going to talk about Samuel Fuller's White Dog.
Yeah, because you messaged me, said you were watching White God and then you were going to watch White Dog as well. And like I said, I didn't get to White God. I just sort of ran out of time and effort, to be honest, which makes it sound really like I'm not being a whiny bitch. I've literally had one day this week to watch anything. But then White Dog, I did think, well, you know what, I can squeeze in an hour and a half quite easily. I looked at it and did think, does he mean White Dog? Does he mean the 80s Nazi dog one?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. It's like, all right, cool, yeah, brilliant, all right, I'm up for that. Which is good because I'd never watched it before.
I watched this on Friday night.
I watched it this morning at 8 o'clock this morning whilst eating butterscotch pancakes and drinking a coffee.
Right, there's a very specific time in which you should be watching White Dog, and neither of those are that.
They are.
I was watching it with a beer, and it genuinely, after it, I just finished it and I was like, right, I need to go to bed now.
I finished I watched the second half of it after I'd eaten my Marks and Spencer's pancakes. I was watching the second part of it with Becky's dog sat on my knee.
Yeah. No,
I was looking at him going, I'm not sure about this guy now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, well, no, quite show it to Becky. I should probably give it up, but the story is basically starts off like kind of with a bang, really. Literally, a lady like hits the white dog of the title, like when it's walking across the road, and she takes it back to her place. And after one of the most confusingly shot rape attacks of all time, like seriously, it's just like, right, what's going on? There's like the dog's watching TV.
Yeah, why is the dog watching a war film really loud?
Yeah, the dog's watching this really loud war film, and this guy is just suddenly in this woman's house.
Which is strange because her boyfriend has literally just warned her about this.
Yeah, about the security. Yeah, exactly. And then basically the dog like attacks the guy, so she's really fond of the dog. But then she essentially finds out that the dog has been trained to attack black people.
Yeah, which when it comes out of that, when they go, he's a white dog, and you're like, she's like, well, yeah, I know he's a white dog. No, he's trained to attack black people. And as the audience, you kind of go, oh, fuck off. And then it explains it in a brilliant way by quite literally having her character ask somebody, what is a white dog? And he explains it, and you go, okay, I'm fine with that now.
It's the Ellen Page in Inception level exposition, where a lot of people with Inception have problems with that because there's a lot of exposition. But in the film, that character needs explanations, and they're given to them. It's appropriate for why that exposition is given, just as it is here, and that's fine.
Yeah, it works really well because it's a sensible question to ask.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, this This feels kind of genius in a way because it really toys with your feelings. Um, you got Ennio Morricone's like
Yeah.
really.
Once I,
Go on.
yeah, that was a strange one. Once I saw that come up on the score, I thought, ooh, it's a nice score, this. And then it came up, it's Ennio Morricone. I thought, really? I mean, it sounds like Morricone, but I just, all right, well, do you know what? It kind of made me a little bit more comfortable with it.
But the thing is, I found that theme increasingly unsettling.
Mm.
And it's basically the only bit of the music in the film is kind of that theme repeated in key moments. And I mean, the full spoilers for White Dog, because I just need to talk about the ending, because I need to get it out of my system. The ending is one of the most depressing fucking things, I think I've ever seen. It's just, you think things are going to shit, and then they don't, and then you think everything's going to be alright, and then things very suddenly turn to shit again.
Yeah.
And it just, I will say, that guy had been around that dog quite a lot.
Mm.
And that dog had never flipped. But it's almost like the dog has to have something in mind that it hates.
Yeah.
So it stops hating black people, and it starts hating fat white men with glasses.
Crusty old white men.
And I mean, before that, you've got the bit where the owner of the dog and his granddaughters turn up, which is just horrible.
Yeah.
And you've got the granddaughters basically. To be fair, they've already been psychologically damaged by their granddad, but now they're getting psychologically damaged by this woman just shouting at them. And it just, and then you get the end scene, and I don't know the dog. I thought it was going to end on her hugging the dog and the dog looking a little bit, oh, something could happen here, and that would have been depressing enough. But you have to add the dog attacking that guy, but it doesn't end there. That would be depressing enough. It doesn't end there. No, you've also got the dog being shot to death.
And not only being shot to death, being left to die alone.
Yeah,
he's not even dead.
Even
he's
his
dying.
New owner basically abandons him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the Ennio Morricone music plays and the credits roll. It just
as we pan out to a dying dog in essentially a massive cage.
Yeah. I mean, what it's got to say about hate, that hate will is very adept at surviving and lingering and kind of morphing, and that whole thing, I absolutely see that, and it feels very much like a Samuel Fuller theme, frankly. But it's the way that it really, really plays with you, this film. Like I don't know. There are moments where, there's that moment where the dog's escaped and it's walking along and it stops, and then a black kid comes out of that building.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and you go, oh
shit. And then the kid goes away. But then the dog then just attacks a black guy in a church.
Yeah.
And I've got to say though, that dog actually murders 2 people and viciously assaults another couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet the police don't do a bloody thing.
No. And it is strange, the fact that what seems to bring it around is Paul Winfield flashing himself at it repeatedly.
Yeah. Even though, I've got to say, right...
That montage is a little bit weird.
Yeah, that montage is weird. But the cheeseburger that he thrusts at him is one of the nicest, greasy-looking cheeseburgers I've ever seen. I wanted that cheeseburger so bad.
I was looking at it going, fucking hell, that cheeseburger looks both horrible and really appetizing at the same time.
And cheesy, and it's like, oh, you are so wrong.
Yeah.
But I want it. It. Oh, dearie me. I don't know. It's very, very effective at pushing and pulling you.
It's a very strange movie.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I'm never going to watch it again. I'm glad I watched it, but I could never do it again.
No. I don't see any need for me to ever watch it again. It wasn't entertaining as such or anything like that. It was just a strange movie.
It's like Thomas Vinterberg's The Hunt. I 100%. Have you seen that?
The Hunt, yes.
It's just like, I absolutely 100% see that is a great film and it's an important film. I never, ever, 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 ever want to put myself through that film ever again.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, especially, you know, since Lottie, you know, no way. This is the same. I found it really unnerving, and that score helps a lot with that. And I mean, even just like the credits at the start, the kind of the black on white, I like it. Just I don't know. There's something off about it which runs through the whole film. It stays at that kind of level of, is everything going to be all right in the end? And the answer is very much no.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very, very powerful stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad I watched it, but like you said, it's not something I'll be rushing to watch again.
No. I'd watch that cheeseburger again.
Just a gif of that cheeseburger.
Should be my iPhone wallpaper. Okay, so let's move on. That was it for what we watched, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I've got nothing else now.
Cool, man. Okay, so let's talk about Marc and Ian play with their lightsabers. It's Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, 1977, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Written and directed by George Lucas. It's the last one of these ones we're going to be covering, actually directed by George Lucas.
Of course, yeah.
Stars Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Peter Cushing, James Earl Jones, David Prowse, and others. There's an alien with a bum for a face. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Star Wars then. Yeah, even the title crawl's good in this one.
Well, it's not about fucking trade embargoes and fucking taxation laws and bollocks and shit, is it?
It's about rebellions and Death Stars.
Terrorism and shit like that.
Princesses.
Yes. Can I ask a question? Why is she a princess?
Because Bail Organa is the crown king of Alderaan. Probably.
Was he? So he's like an elected king?
Probably.
Because he wasn't a king.
Oh,
that's one thing that's confused me a little bit. He's a senator. But then again, what's her name? Was elected. Natalie Portman was elected queen. And then, you know... yeah. So are the royals elected in the Star Wars universe? Probably. Is what I need to know.
Yeah.
That would be one that I'm sure we'll get informed at TGV33. Looking at you.
Yeah. By the way, yes, thanks to Steve for pointing out what I was saying last week about episode 4 being added on. It was for the 81 re-release, apparently.
So that was before the next two, wasn't it?
I think it wasn't Empire.
It would have been, yeah, because the next one was 83, was it?
I thought Empire was 81.
Is it 81?
I'm talking out my arse, because I probably am. There you go. Go on.
Empire Strikes Back was 1980.
Oh, shit. Alright, fair enough.
Yeah, so 80, and Return of the Jedi must have been, what is it? Return of the Jedi, when was that? Return of the Jedi was 83, yeah. So it's in between those two that it was changed to New Hope.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, Mark, what did you think of New Hope?
First thing that I noticed was it looks so much better than the other three movies. To say it was made, some 20 odd years beforehand. It still manages to look a lot better. It looks a lot in keeping within its own story. The effects were kind of cutting edge at the time, and obviously things have been added and it's been cleaned up and etc. and things like that. And you can kind of notice those bits within it where you go, well, that's clearly not a 1977 effect. That's an effect that's been added afterwards, which kind of takes the shine off it a little bit. But I can see why Lucas has wanted to do that. And, I think it's maybe benefited in keeping Star Wars longevity going and getting people into it, new fans into it. From there, with tidying up and cleaning it up. It's more entertaining. It's not been as kind of ponderous and trying to go, well, this is this and this is this and this is this, because it's the first one. Everything is what it is within it. Whether or not Lucas has a story to tell beforehand or not, you don't know at this point. You know that there's history there, but it's uttered about rather than actually you knowing what's going to happen within futures. So you get a little bit more from it in that way. I still personally think it suffers from having characters that I just can't get any kind of sort of feeling towards or get behind, really, at the moment. We're a whole sort of new set of characters, but I don't find any of them sort of endearing or engaging or anything like that. I just find them a little bit people that things are happening to be honest.
Fair enough. I don't know. I really like it. I mean, it is what it is. It's Star Wars. I don't know. The thing is, I didn't particularly grow up on Star Wars. It was only really something that kind of kicked in my teens. My mum and dad, my mum isn't and my dad wasn't film people at all. So it's not really something I was really into, but I got there. And the thing I like about A New Hope is that it is just such a pared down, simple story. It's none of this operatic kind of stuff that Lucas was going for with like Episode 3 in particular. It's just a very simple good versus evil, light versus dark kind of thing. I suppose Han Solo is a bit of an anti-hero, but it's not like he's a prick or anything. He's just a bit of a rogue. There's that. But it's interesting. The kind of the visual effects sprucing up. There's only a couple of bits where I think it particularly looks out of place. There's the one kind of shot towards. Like, it's at the start of the Death Star battle, where it's kind of a shot of the X-Wings kind of flying in space. Yeah. And it's a bit like, well, yeah, that just kind of takes you out of it, really. And, I mean, like, the Mos Eisley scene, they've kind of added some stuff there as well. But yeah, it doesn't jar for me too badly. And I think it might be because I don't have that much experience of the pre-special edition versions that like I say, they weren't the ones I grew up on. So even though a lot of people my age probably did, but I'm kind of more the kind of generation after me that would have grown up on the special edition. So it doesn't bother me so much. I think it's really fun. I mean, one thing that struck me this time around is just the fact that John Williams does the main score, the main theme a lot, and it's weird that, he obviously didn't know it was iconic at the time, but it's almost like it's been rescored to have more of that theme in because that theme is so iconic. Yeah,
it is like that. I suppose it could just be they knew they weren't a good thing. It made sense within the film. And they thought, well, do you know what? Let's try and do that. It's a very sensibly made film, is what I'd say.
But I mean, the thing is, I think it's got some good imagery and standout scenes as well. Like the Luke looking at the kind of the twin suns on Tatooine, while the Williams score kind of plays over that. I think it's a really nice kind of hopeful, melancholy image that kind of sums up Luke at that point. It's well done, like visual storytelling, I think there. I mean, Leia, it kind of just is fairly one-dimensional here. She's given, she's kind of given more of a personality in the upcoming films. I mean, she is kind of an ideal here, really. Even though, one thing I will say is the fact that a lot of the stuff in this film doesn't really make sense in terms of story beats in the prequels and in the ones upcoming. I mean, obviously, Luke and Leia being brother and sister, Lucas cannot say he'd thought of that when they filmed this.
Yeah, because if Darth Vader knows that Luke Skywalker's his son, wouldn't he then know that Princess Leia is his daughter?
This is the thing. They keep them separated.
And also, wouldn't he be able to use his Force thing to work that out? I'm still going back to the Force thing, but it still does seem to be a little bit like that happens when it needs to happen. Doesn't have to wait.
The thing is, he never actually sees Luke, does he? He feels the Force.
No, but he's face to face with Leia, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he is face to face with Leia. I will say, in the end of the day, he doesn't find out about Leia until he senses it in Luke, and Luke doesn't have it in him until he finds out. That shit's not really done until Jedi.
Yeah. This Force thing I still think it seems a little bit flimsy.
But
it's flimsy. No, in fact, it's flimsy as fuck, this Force thing.
I don't know. I think that kind of explains that particular point, to be honest. But okay,
it's a bit Wizards did it.
Yeah, well,
it's very Wizards did it.
Maybe a bit Wizards did it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I can feel a lot of Force here. Your fucking daughter stood in front of you, man. In front of you. Yeah, but
he doesn't know she's his daughter.
He must be able to feel some kind of force of the fact that that's the force of his freaking loins.
Well, no. Like when is
what is the Force then? Because it's still very much one bit and then not another bit and then another bit and then not another bit. No. Yet they go on about it all of the time.
Okay. When do they ever say in this that the Force can tell people their kids standing in front of them?
The Force can feel things, like it can make them feel everything. The Force is supposed to be everything.
He feels a level of the Force.
Everything. If the Force has been passed on to Luke, why hasn't it been passed on to Leia? That's sexist.
Well, it is, but he's not like.
That's sexist.
He has one conversation with her face to face, and it's not like he just like interrupts it, saying, "By the way, you've got quite a lot of Force in you."
He should do.
Really?
He should, yeah.
Really?
He should walk out there and go, "A lot of Force in it, did that girl." I wonder why.
He says the Force is strong in this one about Luke, but it's because he's like fighting him and Luke's trying to.
Sexist.
Fuck's sake.
The Star Wars movie, they just
anyway,
sexist.
I mean, I will say.
What's going to happen next is Leia going to end up in some kind of skimpy uniform.
All right. I will say.
Oh, not to mention the fact that she's called Princess Leia.
That's reading a bit.
Reading a bit? Come on, Lucas's names are a little bit on the nose.
To be fair, a lot of the people in this one particularly pronounce her Leia.
They do, yeah.
So, ease up on that. I will say the kind of the retroactive continuity in the prequels doesn't really make sense here. When Obi-Wan gives him the lightsaber and he says, "Your father wanted you to have this."
Yeah.
When the shit did it, like. Anakin, there's a deleted scene where Anakin's talking to Obi-Wan. He's like, "By the way, if I ever have a kid and I'm not around, give him my lightsaber."
Give him this. And also, you'll hopefully become as powerful a Jedi as your father. It's like, oh, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, there is that. Like, why is Obi-Wan so like bang on for training Luke in the first place?
Yeah, it's like it didn't work out fucking very well last time when you picked up somebody from there, did it?
Uncle Owen's probably on the right path, really. There, just going.
Oh, Uncle Crispy.
Well, yeah. Poor Joel Edgerton.
that gets fucking bleak, doesn't it? For a little bit, Star Wars, I was thinking, it's a little bit joke, it's a little bit kiddie days. Are they charred corpses?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. A C-3PO and R2-D2 just throwing those little hood guys onto a bonfire.
No, quite. And they're Jawas.
What?
They're Jawas. They're not
Jawas.
Jawas, not little hood
Jawas.
guys.
Little hood guys. Little proddy hood guys.
Fucking... You're a dick. The thing is, if this was made today as well, I mean, this film wouldn't be made today. You wouldn't get scenes like the trash compactor scene, which is such a weird, like, just odd, out of place. Right, they've fallen down a chute, and now there's a monster in there, and they're going to get squished.
Yeah.
From...
And the monster keeps going under, and he's able to pull Luke under, but they're all stood in like 1.5 feet of water.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how the fuck does that work? The thing is, it's a fun adventure film for me. I like Han and Chewie. I like the fact that Chewie just barks and Han responds to him. You know, it's kind of classical stuff. You've got the it was a boring conversation anyway. That's great. You know, everything's fine up here. How are you?
Yeah.
You know, and then he like shoots him with shoots the thing with the blast. He was like, it was a boring conversation anyway. It's good. It's good shit. Like Harrison Ford's great at this. I like Mark Hamill as well. He does that. He gets the kind of the slightly whiny, needy man-child thing right, where Hayden Christensen got it really, really wrong. He's got more of an innocence to him.
He is, yeah. He is, yeah. You do get the feeling like in a couple of years' time he's going to get his first boner and cry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Hayden Christensen, like...
was probably punching his dick when he was 12 trying to get a boner.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good analogy. Perfect. But, I mean, the Death Star attack at the end, I think, is genuinely engaging. The kind of the overwhelming odds against it actually going right, I think, is well done. I like the way the score goes into a minor key during those bits. I think it's a really confident sequence to end the film with, and like really before its time as well. I mean, obviously with like the motion control that was pioneered for this, and you know, all that kind of stuff. It's I think that scene's fantastic, but like the kind of the escape from the Death Star, I think is really well done. There's quite a lot of moving parts in that scene, and they kind of managed to do it all. The Obi-Wan Darth Vader fight's not the best, I suppose, but it is two old men going at it.
Do you know what I think is quite interesting though in this? Is that I don't know what I can't. I've seen the next two films, obviously, but I can't remember them. I can roughly remember kind of what happens, but I can't remember sort of mostly specifics. But what was quite sort of palpable is the fact that in this, that's the one lightsaber battle in the film, and it is two guys essentially just hitting swords together. But the prequels, the lightsaber battles they're jumping about and spinning round and doing all of these things, and it is that a thing from the prequels that doesn't exist in the first three, or does it kind of morph into that over the next 2 movies?
It gets more like that, yeah.
It does get more like that, because it was interesting just to see that it was that's how the first lightsaber battle is just two guys holding with one hand and waving them. And I thought it was fine. I probably preferred that than the ridiculousness of the fucking little green thing spinning around and jumping around. I much preferred that. It felt more in keeping, and it felt a little bit more fucking realistic. Realistic. I know that sounds ridiculous in this fucking universe that you're in, but it just felt a little bit more palpable.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, no, exactly.
I quite enjoyed the lightsaber battle, to be honest.
Yeah, no, quite. I mean, it's kind of it's just a more classically kind of style kind of sword fight, really, isn't it? So
exactly, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's Star Wars. It's kind of iconic. I think it's got reason to be. I think the music adds a shitload to it. But that's that's John Williams really. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like we don't have much more to say.
I don't. I'm still not getting how these films have inspired this much fandom. It's still not getting me. But we've got 2 more to go, and I think isn't Return of the Jedi. I can remember Return of the Jedi: The Empire Strikes Back is considered to be like the properly good film out of the lot.
Empire is that one for people. Yeah.
So that's the next one we're watching.
Yes.
It's Empire's next one we're watching. Yeah, so I'm more looking forward to the next one than I have been at any other point throughout this review.
Okay, well that's good. I'd call that a success then.
I don't get me wrong. It's Star Wars is definitely not shit. It's just I'm still at the point of where I'm going. It's still not doing anything personally for me. I'm still not engaged enough to go to overlook the certain bits that make me go, hang on a minute. It's still not got me enough there.
Fair enough.
But I'm still open to being won over.
I don't think you will be.
I think if I was going to be, I probably would have been by now, but we never know.
No, I think you would have been now as well. But, never mind. Yeah, anyway, you're still going to fucking watch them, so tough shit.
Oh, I'm still going to fucking watch them, yeah. Don't want that. Don't be a mingy bastard every week in between.
Yes, you are. do you know what I'm going to be a mingy bastard about? What? No tweets and no emails.
Ah, no, motherfuckers. For shame on you. Well, for that, I'm going to talk to Ian very quickly about iTunes again.
Oh, go on then. Yeah, hit me.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit behind this now, actually. I messaged Ian the other day. I was just, I can't remember what day it was on. I think it was on Thursday night. I was kind of flicking through iTunes, waiting for Bex to finish reading something that she was reading. And so I quite literally was just flicking through the iTunes movie bit and just sort of seeing what was there and how much stuff was. And came across The Untouchables for $3.99 and thought, if I saw The Untouchables, let's say I was shopping in Asda and walked by one of the Blu-ray stands of things they had and saw The Untouchables for £4 on Blu-ray, I'd probably go, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to have that. So I thought, right, that's it. I'm going to set myself a thing now where I've no interest, for instance, in buying the, Mission Impossible collection for £31 for all 5 movies. Yeah. I don't even want to buy the Mission Impossible 5 for $13.99. But what I'm going to try and use iTunes for is sort of catalogue titles that I see for like $3.99 or $4.99, or the what I assume is like a Black Friday weekend kind of deal thing they've got, where they've got a build your collection thing. What I think would be really sensible for iTunes to do is to keep that build your collection thing and just keep changing it every week. Because it's like 7 titles are $1.99, 7 titles are $2.99, 7 $3.99, 7 $4.99, and 7 are $5.99. And I bought Fight Club, and was just about to buy Predator before I realised I actually own Predator on Blu-ray, so that'd be stupid for me to buy it on what is it, even if it only is $1.99. But I'm still actually tempted and thinking, but then again, So I've actually bought a couple. I've bought The Untouchables and Fight Club this week. So it now takes it up to, I've bought 3 in 2 weeks, which is more Blu-rays than I bought this entire year.
There you go.
So it's kind of winning me over. And let's say if they do change it and they do decide, right, do you know what, this $1.99 thing or $2.99 thing's worked, and they do decide to keep that build your collection thing. I don't think they will, but let's say in a fantasy world where Apple is run by humans, that is something they do. I could quite easily see myself buying a couple a week.
Yeah, no, quite. I mean, I buy a couple of things on iTunes a week these days anyway myself. It's just I'm okay with spending the full price stuff because I would have spent that on a Blu-ray anyway, so it's fine. I bought Ant-Man on iTunes, and I'm going to watch that tonight. And I mean, the thing is as well, a lot of the time you can get iTunes gift cards for less than their face value. Like at the moment, Tesco are doing buy free £15 ones for 35 quid. So you're getting a tenner off there, or a tenner's more value for the money you're actually paying. So when you factor that kind of thing into it as well, it takes the actual real term cost of the things down even more, and I'm okay with it. I mean, I spent £1.99 on Predator. I bought Chef for £3.99.
You see, that's the sort of stuff I'm tempted by. If I see stuff for, like, say, under a fiver, and it's something I think, do you know what? I won't mind. I'll happily have that. Then I'll buy it and I'll build my collection that way. But I can't see myself ever going, do you know what? Here's $12.99 on a new release. I'd prefer to either rent it and then wait for it to come down in price, or for instance, South Park came out this Monday, and HMV doing an exclusive steelbook. I'm going to get that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it has kind of reinvigorated my buying things.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the fact that I can browse shit on my phone. It's just like, it's almost like an impulse. Shit, that's $3.99. Yeah, I'll have that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's the way, and I'm more than happy with it now. I'm more than happy with it.
Yeah.
Good. Join the club, you prick.
And also as well, part of this is because when I move house, I am not putting my DVD and Blu-ray shelves back up in the living room.
Oh, my God.
I know. The Blu-rays are going in the podcasting office, and the DVDs, I have no idea what I'm doing with right now. Not a fucking clue.
If anyone wants to watch DVDs, let him know.
Yeah, if anyone wants 2,500 DVDs. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Hell, that's crazy. Right, so what are we doing next week then? Because you're not that bothered by Krampus, are you?
Couldn't give a fuck.
But the night before, you're more into that?
I could watch the night before, yeah.
I guess we're doing the night before then.
Yes.
Nice. So we'll be doing the night before next week. We'll be doing Empire Strikes Back next week. We'll have more to talk about. I won't be watching Mortdecai again, so don't worry about that. And I think that's probably going to do it for this week, is it?
I think so, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so why am I sounding so distracted? Have a good one, folks, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Speak next week, guys. Bye.